let's start from the beginning. Hello, everybody. My name is Sylvia Ho, and I am your host today. Today, we are going to talk about how to pay off your mortgage in 15 years or less using the J.O.M.P method. Thank you very much, Fatima. As we are talking about finances here, I have to give you my disclaimer. So my disclaimer is this. The J.O.M.P method is a strategy that I've used in the past, that I'm using today, and I know will work for me in the future. It's a strategy. It's my opinion. And there's no secret sauce to this. The strategy, how the strategy works is you buy one more property, you hold it for 10 to 15 years, and you use that built up equity to realize your dreams and your financial goals. At the end, my belief is that real estate will give you and your family more options. You will be able to live the life that you want, do the things that you want, but more importantly, do them when you want to do them. So today I am going to show you the following. I'm going to show you how to pay off your mortgage in 15 years or less. I'm going to show you how to retire earlier, 5 years earlier, 7 years earlier, 3 years earlier, whatever that number is. It's because you're going to get passive rental income. I will teach you how to increase your net worth, and I will teach you how to build intergenerational wealth so that you can help your kids and even your grandkids. Now, as a thank you for joining us today, you will get the J.O.M.P workbook. Now, so make sure you stay all the way till the end. Now, when you guys signed up for today's webinar, you guys got a case study. Now, just in case you missed it, I am going to offer it right now here. So if you missed the case study, you can download it right now. So just a reminder that a question I get asked a lot is that, Sylvia, hey, your services sound awesome, but do you charge anything? And my services to you are absolutely free of charge. I do not charge you for my services, as my lenders pay me my commission. So I work with TD, I work with Scotia, I work with 25 different lenders. I shop around and find the best product to best suit my clients' needs. Today, we're going to have a question and answer period. It's going to be at the end of the webinar. So in the chat box, put in your Q&A. At this time, before we dive any deeper, please turn off your cell phones, close the doors, turn off any kind of browsers, because in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you a lot of stuff that's going to be eye openers. I know when I was putting this webinar together, I was like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. I don't know why people are not doing this. So let me tell you how I got started in real estate. So this is my first home. My mom, who was a real estate agent at that time, she took me to go see this townhouse. This townhouse was near Don Mills and Shepherd, near Fairview Mall. And we went to go see it. Now, it's a normal thing for me to go see homes. I grew up seeing homes all the time because my mom was a real estate agent. So we went to go see this house, and she's like, this house is perfect. We're going to buy it. I'm like, great. Who's buying it? She's like, you are. I was like, okay, what do you mean? Me? I can't buy this place, Mom. That's crazy talk. I am not ready. I have $50,000 in student loans. I'm not ready. I don't have a full-time job, Mom. How can I buy this place? I'm just in the midst of doing interviews and lining up my first job. I'm not ready, Mom. I do not even have my first 5%, my savings. I don't have my 5% down payment that you require. My mom's answer to me was, you know what, Sylvia? Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Just sign on the dotted line. Now, I signed on a dotted line. I took that leap of faith. And the reason I did that was because my mom was there. My mom was there to guide me. But God bless my mom, because we figured out all those issues and I got the place. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because 3 years later, I sold my home. I made a profit. I bought a bigger, fully detached, more expensive home. And this was 20 years ago. And I bought a more expensive home. It was the 80s look, right? So I renovated the top floor. It was 1,200 square foot. This is a walkout bungalow. Walkout bungalow. So I had 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms. I renovated, put in a brand new kitchen, resanded the floors, and then I still had money left over. I paid off my student loans, and I still had money left over, and I put in a basement apartment. I started renting it out, and then I was like, oh my goodness, the rent that was coming in was higher than my mortgage payments. And that's, guys, is 20 years ago. That's how I got hooked into real estate. I quit my full-time job and I went into mortgage brokering full-time. Now, this is what I own today, and it's because of my mom. I own condos, I own townhouses, I own semis, I own detached homes. Today, I own 7 properties. So maybe this webinar will help you go from I am not ready to I am ready. This webinar is for you if you are that average family who knows the power that real estate is powerful, but you just don't know how to get started. This webinar is for you if you're between the ages of 45 to 55 years old, because that's a typical age most of my clients are in, and you're worried about your retirement. You're like, oh my goodness, I am going to retire in 15 to 20 years. I don't have enough money saved up, and I still have a mortgage. This webinar is for you if you are looking to help the future generation. You want to help your kids, but you don't want to sacrifice today's lifestyle, and you don't want to sacrifice your retirement. Today's webinar is for you if you want to learn how to build financial wealth and you want to create your own pension plan. You don't want to just depend on your RSPs or your company's pension or CPP and OAS. Remember that you're here to learn how to own just one more property to set your family up for success. So I am going to start my first poll. And this first poll, So I'm going to start my first poll. So put in an answer here. Why are you here? So put in your answers, and so we can see. So what is a typical J.O.M.P client? A typical J.O.M.P client is someone who owns real estate today and has equity in their home. A typical J.O.M.P client has excellent credit. They have permanent full-time jobs. They're making over $250,000 combined family income. They're between the ages of 45 to 55 years old. A typical J.O.M.P client is someone who does accelerated mortgage payments, or they do lump sum mortgage payments towards their mortgage to pay it down faster. A typical J.O.M.P client is someone who has debt outside of your mortgage, who has car loans, who have car leases, who have consumer debts, line of credit debts, credit card debts. A typical J.O.M.P client is someone who is saving for their RESPs and retirement and just don't feel that it's quite enough. So today's game plan, what am I going to show you today? I'm going to show you how I made over $1 million of profit using the J.O.M.P method. I am going to show you what the secret is to leveraging your current real estate property without increasing your monthly budget. The game plan is to talk about making money while you sleep as a part-time investor. This is an advanced strategy to create over $2 million. The number one big secret about real estate investing, and the number one thing that the financial advisors do not want you to know. So let's see what the results are. So there are results. Why are you here today? So the next slide is I'm going to talk to you about the J.O.M.P blueprint. Now this is the basis of J.O.M.P, and it's very, very simple. Now I'm going to make an assumption that we're purchasing a place for $500,000. But it doesn't mean you have to purchase a place for $500,000. It just means that it could be any number. So you buy a place for $500,000, you have to have 20% down payment, and that's $100,000. Now I know you're probably wondering, like, Sylvia, where am I going to get $100,000 from? Well, I'll help you figure that part out. And then we get $400,000 from the lender, and we go out and buy a $500,000 investment property. And here are the breakdown in numbers. So we are going to assume that property appreciates by 5% per year. Now I'm using this as a low number because here in the Toronto area, over the last 30 years, the average increase is 7% per year. So I'm only using 5%. So let's take a look at the numbers. So after 15 years, your property will double in value. So this is under the rule of 72. So just look up rule of 72, 15 years at 5% increase, your property will double in value to $1 million, over $1 million. Now, over those 15 years, you would have paid down the mortgage. Your tenant would have paid down the mortgage to $250,000. You have $788,000 in equity. Now we have to, of course, minus our original $100,000 that we put in. So profit is $688,000. Now, after 20 years, you're going to have profit of over $1 million. Now, keep in mind that this is just one property. What happens with a lot of my clients is they end up with 2 to 3 properties because most people have 2 to 3 kids. So if I know this client has 2 kids, then I'd be like, okay, they need their owner occupied home and then they need 2 rental properties so that they could gift each property to their kids. So poll number 2, what would you do with $1 million? There we go. What would you do with $1 million? Please put in your vote. So while you guys are doing the poll, I'm going to just go over some basic definitions because I don't want to assume that everybody knows what the definitions are. So what's the definition of cash flow? So let's just say all your expenses, your mortgage payments, your property taxes, your condo fees, your insurance is $2,000 per month. Your rent is $2,200 per month. So in this case, you're in positive cash flow of $200. Now let's just say your rent is $1,800. So then you have negative cash flow of $200 per month. Next definition is return on investments, ROI, or appreciation. So let's just say you give me $100, I give you back 105. That's 5% return on your money. That's 5% appreciation. Net worth. Now, net worth is a big word. It's a big word that we need to understand. So net worth is all about all the things that you own. Okay. So your house, your car, your jewelry, your insurance, your savings. That's, you add that all up, the value of that into one pile. And then you look at your liabilities, everything that you owe money to. So your mortgage, your car loan, your car leases, credit card debts, line of credit debts, and you add that up. And hopefully the liabilities the liabilities number is lower than your assets number. And therefore, when you die, you have money to pass on to the next generation. Now, buying one more property will increase your net worth by a lot. And that's why wealthy people invest in real estate. And in my belief, real estate is the way to go, is the way to build wealth. The last definition is leverage, OPM, or the 3-letter word, OPM, my favorite 3-letter words, OPM, other people's money. Okay. Most of you guys own a home here. You have leveraged someone else's money to buy your current home, because what you did was you gave a small amount of money. Someone gave you a large amount of money. The bank gave you a large amount of money. That's called leverage. So let's take a look at our poll number 2. So we have 50% to pay off my mortgage. The second one is travel the world. Beautiful. Love those answers. So the next slide that we're going to talk about is how banks make their lending decisions. We all can agree that banks know how to make money. We all can agree that they've done their number crunching and that they're profitable. So if anything that you're going to remember in this webinar today, you must remember this one slide and where banks put their money. So let's just say you have $100,000. There's 3 areas that you can invest your money in. You could put your money into a business, you could put your money with a financial planner, or you could put your money into real estate. So let's just say you have $100,000. You want to open up a business. You go to your bank manager and you're like, hey, bank manager, I have $100,000. I want you to lend me another $100,000 so that I can have $200,000 to start up my business. Now, we all know how hard it is to get money these days. The bank manager will likely say no, but let's just say they're in a good mood and they actually do give you the $100,000. So now you have $200,000 to invest in your business. You give it some more thought and you're like, you know what? I changed my mind. You, Mr. Bank Manager, that I've known for a really, really long time, you've asked me to touch base with your financial planner that works at your branch, that's done very, very well for your clients. And you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my money with your best financial planner ever. But I want you to match the $100,000 so I can have $200,000 to work with your financial planner that you recommend. Again, bank manager is likely going to say no. But let's just say they say yes, and they give you $200,000 to invest with their financial planner. You change your mind again. You're like, you know what? I don't want to put my money with a financial planner. I want to put my money into real estate. So you walk into a branch. This is not the branch manager that you've known for ages. This is a branch that you've never been to before. You walk into the branch and you're like, hey, branch, I have $100,000. I want to invest into real estate. Will you lend me money? And without hesitation, guys, they're like, sure, no problem. we'll give you $400,000 so you can go buy a place for $500,000. Huh. This is a bank manager that you do not know. They're suddenly giving you 4 times more your money without hesitation. So my question to you is, where are banks putting their money? Banks are putting their money in real estate because their belief is that real estate is 4 times more profitable than investments, or investments is 4 times riskier than real estate. Now, keep in mind, guys, I, Sylvia, am not telling you this. It's the banks. This is what the banks are doing. And because we know they're profitable, we should copy them as well. Now, let's take this one step further. Let's just say our goal is to make $100,000 in the next 5 years. For us to make $100,000 in the next 5 years, you would need a 50% return on your money with stocks. That means it's 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10% return on your money. For me, I think that's pretty tough with a financial planner. But what I'm going to tell you is in real estate, to make the same $100,000, you only need 20% return on your money. That means you need 4%, 4%, 4%, 4%, 4% return on your money. And is that possible in real estate? Absolutely. So the bottom line is that we must copy the banks. We must copy the way that they think. If banks are putting their money in real estate, then we should do that too. By buying one more property and holding it long term, you can retire with passive income and you can create a pension plan for yourself and not rely on your RRSPs. So next question is, are you doing the best that you can with the cash and the time that you have today? So are you maximizing the cash and the assets that you have today? I run my own business. I'm a busy mom. I have 2 kids in professional sports, gymnastics, cheer, and hockey. I'm always running around. So my question I ask myself is, am I using my time wisely? Am I using my money wisely? As a homeowner, many homeowners have equity that's sitting in their home and they're not doing anything with it. It's right now, rich people never have dead equity. They always leverage. So what is equity? Equity is a percentage of the house that you own. So in this picture, you own 30% of the house. Your equity is $90,000. The bank owns the other 70%, the other $210,000. That dead equity of $90,000 is essentially making you 0% interest. So you, as a homeowner, have signed up for a savings account that's making you nothing. So what the rich people do is they leverage. So I'm going to teach you how to leverage the equity that's in your home to go buy your next property. So our next slide is going to talk about what the financial planner does not want you to know. So I'm going to start the next poll is, are you happy with a return on your investments? So if you could put that in, that would be great. Let me put my vote in. So put in your vote. Are you happy with your return on your investments? So what we're going to do is the next slide is going to really change the way that you look at investing. So let's run a race. Let's talk about team real estate and team investments. So we're going to assume that you're doing some kind of savings. So let's say team investments is saving $400 per month. That's typically what parents do right now that save money for 2 kids, RESPs, $400 per month. They do it over 15 years, every single month. Let's assume a return of 5%. After 15 years, you're going to have $107,000. Okay, that's great. Your RESP guy or girl has done their job. This is what they promised you. They promised you that they would make you money, and they did. But my question to you is, this is over 15 years. Is $100,000 enough to put 2 kids through post-secondary education? I don't think so. I know when my kids grow older, it won't be enough. Right now, for your basic post-secondary education, you need $100,000. And right now they were saving for 2 kids. So is that enough? No, it's not enough. So now what happens if we transfer this $400 a month to another bucket, to another category, to team real estate? So for us to borrow the $100,000, it's going to cost us $400 per month. Let's assume, again, a 5% return on your money. You keep the property for 15 years at 5% return. The place is going to be worth over $1 million. Your mortgage is going to be paid down. Who's it paid down by? It's paid down by the tenant. So you owe $250,000. And then there's equity of $788,000. Now, of course, we have to remember to pay back our original $100,000. So that's profit after 15 years is $688,000. So if we compare team investment and team real estate wins by a margin. You could put 6 kids through university and they will not graduate with any debt at all. And actually, your ROI is actually higher than 641. It's more like 700%. And the reason is because rent goes up over the years. So on year 1 versus year 15, your rent would have gone up. Now, what if the roles were reversed? Because I know there's a lot of skeptics out there. They're like, you know what? Real estate can't keep on going up. So let's say that team investment went for a 10% return of your money instead of 5%. And then what if real estate only in the Toronto area only went up by 2% instead of 5%? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to be possible because Calgary and Edmonton increase higher than 2%. And we're talking about Toronto here. But let's just assume that team real estate is only at 2% and team investment is 10%. Who do you think is going to win? Team real estate by almost double, 200%. So let's assume we're running a race. Okay, let's assume we're running a race. And this race is a 100-meter dash. Team investment starts at the 0 mark, at the start line, because they start at $0. They save $400, that's $400. They save another $400, right? $800. They save another $400, that's $1,200 and $1,600. But team real estate, we don't start at the 0 mark, zero start line. We start at the 90-meter mark. Why? Because we come out with a $500,000 investment right off the bat. So if team real estate, team investment, team real estate is going to win every single day with no doubt. I, Sylvia, who doesn't even run because I hurt my knee, will win that race every single day against the fastest person on earth because I start at the 90-meter mark. So what I say is that run the race the right way, the only way. Now, next question is, again, because I know there's a lot of skeptics out there, what happens if the property value never goes up in value? It never goes up in value. So you buy it for $500,000, 15 years later, it's still worth $500,000. Here are your numbers. Profit after 15 years, team real estate still wins. Profit after 20 years, team real estate still wins. And why is this? Well, the reason is because your mortgage is being paid down by the tenant. Now, would this actually occur where your property will never increase in value? If you believe that's the case, please go get a property today. And in 15 years, I will buy that property off of you for the same price that you bought it today. Not going to happen, guys. There's an article that I read that Toronto is going in the same direction as New York City, where New York City, the norm is renting because it's too expensive to buy. Toronto is heading in that direction. So we have to help our kids. So let's see what poll number 3. Are you happy with your return on your investments? Okay, there we go. So what if, next what if question, what if you could accomplish everything that we just talked about without increasing your current monthly budget? I'm going to show you how I helped a client a little bit later on in the slides. I'm going to show you how I help the client do exactly this. Because, 6 to 7 out of our 10 clients will say, Sylvia, the J.O.M.P program sounds great, but I really don't have an extra $500 to $600 to bring out for that extra $100,000. Don't worry, we will figure it out. I've done that for clients, and I'll show you. But before I show you, I want to talk about old school thinking, and it's about mindset and your relationship with money. So old school thinking, that's what I grew up with, is old school thinking. The old school thinking is, hey, Sylvia, do really well in school, graduate, get a good degree, get a good paying job, pay off all your debts, pay off your mortgage, save with your financial planner, pay off your mortgage, retire with a house that's free and clear. And that is the old school thinking of retirement. But the question is that truly enough? People are living to an older age these days. We have better medical technology. People are exercising. People are eating healthier. People are eating organic. There is a stat out there that 1 out of every 2 individuals, so you have another person there with you. If you look at that person, 1 of you guys will live to 92. Right now, financial planners used to plan to 65. Now it's 75, 85, and now it's 95 years old. So the old school thinking is not enough. It's not enough to retire, because let's fast forward time. Let's just say you stay old school thinking, you're in retirement, you've paid off your mortgage, you have X amount of money saved up, but the cost of living here in Toronto is so expensive. You start dipping into your retirement savings. You dip into your retirement savings, it's depleting, it's gone. Now what do? You get a mortgage against your house, because that's where all of your cash is. How ironic, right? You took all of your working years to pay off your mortgage and have a house that's free and clear, that in retirement, you go get a reverse mortgage, and then you put another mortgage back onto your house. It's hard to save with the old school way. So what's the new school thinking? The new school thinking is all about leverage. It's all about retiring with your investments and keeping your investments with your financial planner as long as you can. Don't dip into it, because we know time is against us. We know that the longer we leave our investments to grow, the more it will grow. We're going to retire with equity in multiple properties. And in my opinion, that's called living the good life. That's living a retired life on your terms. So comment in the chat box. Tell me, are you old school thinking or are you new school thinking? So here with old school thinking, let's just say your budget was $4,000 per month, and you go down that route and you do nothing else. After 15 years, you are going to have a net worth of 1.2 million. But if you did the new school way where you took out $100,000, your net worth would be 2.8 million. After 25 years, old school is 2.3, but with new school, it's over $6 million. So the question I have to you is this, is if you take out that extra 100 grand in the new school thinking, you're going to be $3.6 million richer. So let's have a little bit of fun here. What would you do with an extra $3.6 million? Something irresponsible, nothing responsible. What would you do? Travel the world, go for a cruise, buy a private jet, buy a vacation home, buy multiple homes. What would you do as an irresponsible thing? Travel the world. It's beautiful. So how I talked about a lot of my clients ask me, hey, Sylvia, you know what? This all sounds beautiful, but we don't have that extra $500 to $600 per month. How can we stay within our current budget? So here's a story of how I helped the family. Their goal was to build a strong foundation. They were spending $5,000. They really wanted to, their goal was to build a strong foundation and to pay off their mortgage and to retire comfortably. They were spending $5,000 per month. $3,500 was for the mortgage, 2 car loans, and $400 for a line of credit where they did some renovations. So what we did was we consolidated the car loans. Now, even though the car loans were at 0.99% interest, it didn't matter, because the bigger picture was that by consolidating, their monthly payments for their mortgage was $1,900 per month, and they have no more car loans and no more line of credits. And then they're like, whoa, Sylvia, what do I do with $3,100 per month? So that's where we took out the extra $100,000. And so now their mortgage budget is $2,300. They have no car loans. They have no line of credit debts. There's still positive cash flow of $2,700. And in this scenario, this family was on track to have over $2 million in net worth. The question I get asked a lot is, Sylvia, how do I deal with negative cash flow? Right? Because it's really hard to buy somewhere, a property here in Toronto where it's positive cash flow. And I don't want to go out of town. Well, here you can afford it because you still have $2,700 per month. So that's how you can get into a property, still have negative cash flow, but at the bigger picture, it's all about creating that $2 million of net worth. So let's see where everybody's putting their money. Everybody wants to travel. I get it. I love it. Love to travel. So here's how to create over $2 million in net worth. Now, this is an advanced JUMP strategy. So you buy your first investment property for $500,000. And then after 3 to 4 years, you refinance, you take money out again, and you buy a second property. And then you rinse and repeat. You refinance, rinse and repeat again. After 3 to 4 years, again later, a couple of years later, you refinance the first property and the second property, and you go buy your third property. After 15 years, you create over $1.6 million. After 25 years, over $3.6 million. Now, all of my clients will receive an Excel sheet and a personalized video that will look like this. It will talk about all of your numbers, your debts, how much you're paying per month right now. It will talk about what it looks like for you to take out the extra $100,000 and what your budget is. And then the third part is to look at, buying an investment property, what your rental income will be, what your expenses will be, and what it costs to carry 2 properties. So this is what I do. I put a personalized plan and Excel sheet together for you. Remember, my services are absolutely free of charge. So when you work with me and you buy another property, it's like making money while you sleep. A lot of people I talk to, they're like, oh, to make ends meet, Sylvia, we picked out a part-time job. I have a client who is a bartender on the weekends. He makes good money, but he's spending, 10 to 12 hours away from family, right? Owning another property is like having a second job, but you don't have to go to it, right? So as the value goes up and the property and the mortgage goes down, after 1 year, you're making $32,000, 3 years, 36, 7 years, 44,000. After 15 years, you're making an extra $63,000 per year. So I love Tony Robbins, and one of his quotes is, in a moment's decision, your life will change. So my question to you is that moment today? So why are you here? You are here today to learn about the JUMP program, where it increases your net worth, where you're learning to pay off your mortgage, where you are building intergenerational wealth. You're having passive retirement income. You're learning to copy the wealthy, to copy what they do, to copy what the banks do, where they're putting their money. And you're changing your mindset about cash, about money. You're changing your mindset from old school thinking to the new school thinking. So what I'm going to do today is I invite you to book a call with me. There's going to be a button here that I'm going to put out here, and you can book a time with me to chat, to see whether the JUMP program works for you. And a reminder that my services are absolutely free. I do not charge you for my services. Here are some testimonials that are from my JUMP clients. Here are my testimonials. And a lot of my JUMP clients, last year I did a podcast. I interviewed my JUMP clients about their experiences and how they feel and why they wanted to do this. So I invite you to listen to my podcast. And the one question I asked my clients that I interviewed is, what's the number one advice you would give to your younger self? And outstanding, everybody basically said the same thing. And they said that, I wish I did this earlier because I'd be a millionaire right now. All right, so we're going to do a quiz and answer right now, and question and answer period. So if you guys have any questions, please put that into the chat. So myth or fact, I can buy an investment property with less than 20% down payment. So put in the chat box whether that's a myth or myth or a fact. So buying an investment property, yes, you have to come up with 20% down payment, but I'm going to tell you right now that this is a myth and a fact, because I have a client that owns 3 properties, and on each property, he put 5% down payment. It's all about strategic planning. Being a landlord is hard work. I manage all of my properties. Okay. By working with me and going through the J.O.M.P program, you get me. If you don't want to be a landlord, that family that I talked about that owns 3 properties, they have property managers that they use. So being a landlord is hard work. That's a myth, because you can hire a property manager. Now, the next question you're going to ask is, well, doesn't a property manager cost money? Well, yeah, of course it costs money. But where else would you put your money? Remember the question I asked you? Are you doing the best that you can with the money that you have? Right? If you have $100,000, you're not going to just sleep on it. You're not going to put it under your bed. You're going to give it to a financial planner. The financial planner, there's MERS, there's investment fees, right? So it's the same idea. Your kids will need your help to buy a home. Kids right now are knocking on the door of mom and dad, on the bank of mom and dad. And they're like, this is a fact. This is the fact that they need your help. Kids are asking on average between $200,000 to $300,000 to get into the market. So if you know that you're going to help your kid, why not help your kid now instead of later, where it could hurt your retirement savings? I can't break my mortgage halfway through the term. This is false. This is a myth. You can absolutely break your mortgage halfway through the term. There will be a penalty involved, but we're going to figure that all out in the proposal to see, hey, does this make sense? I have to make lots of money to buy another property. Not true at all. $250,000, $120,000, $130,000 for each adult in the family. It's very, very possible. I have to pay off all of my debts, including my mortgage loan, to get before getting into J.O.M.P. So remember that slide at the beginning, a typical J.O.M.P client? A typical J.O.M.P client has debt. They have a mortgage debt. They have credit card debt. They have car loans. They have line of credit debts. They have debt. So this is a myth. So I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. Here is what I promised you. I promised you the J.O.M.P workbook. So let me get that for you right now. Here we go. So here's the J.O.M.P workbook. You can download it. You can click on the button and download it. And then I'm going to leave you with one last quote. And the quote is, change your story, change your life. So today you're telling yourself a story. And the story is, I'm worried about retirement. I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my future. What's a new story you're going to tell yourself today to change your life? Thank you very, very much for coming, everybody. I am going to stop sharing right now, and I'm going to see if there's any questions in the Q&A. Let's see here. New thinking. Okay, that's beautiful. We don't have any questions. I look forward to seeing you guys, to chatting with you at our talk. Take care, everyone. Bye now.